So, yeah, I'm working on cleaning the track now because it's that. So what does everybody use for that? To really clean it?
Mm.
So,
I don't,
pads.
what do? I, hang on a second. I'll show you something.
So I think
Hopefully.
Ray uses the right stuff, but I don't know if you folks are, most of you probably are. There's a gentleman by the name of Fugate who did a real in-depth study, and he came up with this concept of using non-polar cleaners. Things like
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
contact cleaner. I would highly recommend you guys read that. I actually sent the notes to Ray, and there's a whole list of things, but basically kerosene works. CRC contact cleaner is real good, but you're looking for the lowest polarity available free ions. He's convinced most of dirty track comes from microarcing, and any polar cleaners, things like isopropyl alcohol, add to that. So I don't have a layout to be able to do this on, but many people on his forums, Fugate's forums, have commented that they use his methods and they have absolutely no troubles. The other thing he does is after cleaning is he'll take a graphite pencil and just make like 6-inch marks on the top of the railhead about every 3 or 4 feet, because that'll put down a micro layer of graphite, which will definitely suppress the microarcing. And he claims clubs can run for 6 months to a year without having to clean their track using that process.
I heard something similar to that, and some guy, I think it's like it almost sounds like a dielectric grease type thing, right? And you rub just a thin layer on the track.
Yeah, except you really don't want grease because then you lose your traction.
Yeah.
Whereas the very thin layer of graphite from just a lead pencil is enough, and you don't do it on the whole track. It's like every 3 to 4 feet. Just put a little dab of it and run your train. It'll spread it.
Yeah, the way this guy talks, it's like just a really thin layer because it's just a coating,
Right.
really thin.
I have here my magic. That's the Woodland Scenics little dust devil. And I run about 12, I think I have 12 cars with these. Plus I have cars with the masonite pad. I don't use any liquid on my track except I have what Jim has told me. He thankfully sent me this wonderful handout of things that are polar and not polar. Like the Express, Sean. I couldn't help myself.
That sounds
And
like
by
inside joke.
keeping the track, the only thing I use is with my none of my switches are DCC friendly, and they're all power routing. And I'll use a CRC. That's a medium polar thing on the points every now and then. But running and keeping the track dry, I mean, the graphite thing might work. I have not tried that, but then I've had, knock on wood, I've had great luck with my layout, but then I do run frequently.
So I had a theory about all this, and I was going to write in to the forums, Joe Fugate, MRH forum on it, because I was wondering, what's going on here? You're not supposed to clean with isopropanol because of the alcohol and the polarity and everything. I think, and it's just the theory, I haven't done any testing on this, but I think it's the water that's absorbed on the rails that's the big issue. So think about when your train goes across the rail and there's a potential between the wheel and the rail. You've got a little electrochemical cell there, and it's, you know, arcing and all that too. And then that's what's causing the slight or enhancing like the corrosion and everything. And so, like, if you look at a motor, they're all like graphite contacts on the motor, right? So it's kind of making a layer that's hydrophobic on the copper, and that keeps it from corroding as well. So I think the combination of the graphite filling in all the little tiny micro cracks and inhibiting water on the rails, I think that's a big part of it. And then when you put alcohol on there, that just attracts water onto the metal. So you don't want to put an alcohol cleaner on it. So using like mineral spirits or something will clean the water off the rail, as well as any particles and so on. Anyways, that was, I don't know.
Yeah, Joel definitely doesn't like mineral spirits. He claims that adds to the microarcing just because, again, the polarity of it. But I'm not an expert. You're the chemist, so I'm gonna.
I
defer to
thought
you.
I thought mineral spirits was one of the things he recommended, but
Oh, I don't. Ray, do you have that list? Otherwise,
Yeah,
I'd have
mineral
to-
spirits is 2.1.
Okay.
And diesel is 2.1. Gasoline is 2.0. There's a good thing to use on your model railroad.
put some gasoline on there.
So let me make a
Gasoline.
quick comment about diesel, if I may. You guys probably already know this. Difference between diesel and kerosene is diesel has benzene in it, which is extremely carcinogenic, and your fingers will absorb it. I used to use diesel because it was cheaper than kerosene to clean bicycle parts until I ran into a chemist and he said, "You don't want to do that."
Mhm.
Kerosene definitely is a very safe oil for cleaning parts. But yeah, definitely don't use diesel. Use kerosene if you're going to clean oily, dirty parts and try to leave a thin coating of oil on it. I'm done.
Sometimes,
Did we answer that question?
sometimes if it's been, I don't use any abrasive really on it anymore, but the Woodland Scenics track cleaning pads are reasonably benign if things are really bad. And then the Dust Monkey to keep things good. And I usually use CRC 26 on some of that. I just spray it on the pad. I also have used in the past, cut out a piece of a paper sack. You know, a grocery bag used to be, or maybe still is, and wrap that around a block and use that as a more benign abrasive than some of these other things. But I've also used masonite and so forth. So, but I don't run enough. Yeah, and oh yeah,
Homosote.
Homosoap. That's the other one. So there are all kinds of, but they seem to be leaning as much to a chemical solution to the problem rather than a mechanical one, unless things are just really totally gunked. Then, of course, there's Andy Pierce, who is planning, and I think several others, they're just going to run dead rail, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what they do at downtown, right, Sean? You run dead rail.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Yeah, some days more than others.